have received a lot of comments, and unfortunately, I have to be a lot more cautious about my appearance when I go and make a post now, and at events as well, when it's going to be filmed, I'm like, I go into my wardrobe beforehand and I'm like, what can I possibly wear that's not going to get comments? So I wear t-shirts now. Like I wear t-shirts, like, like crew neck t-shirts, because I'm like, that way, like people at least can't comment on this part of my body, but it sucks that I have to do that, and I can't.
Beatnation, it's what's up. Beatnation. Hey guys, welcome to Staying on Beat podcast. So if you're here for the first time, this is a podcast run by Beatnation. I'm Real, your host, and we have the amazing, the incredible singing beatboxer with the name who is D-Nice. D-Nice, make some noise.
Hey, what's up? How are you?
D-Nice. Great. Okay, so before we begin, we gotta ask, because it's a global thing happening right now, how are you doing over there in America?
I'm okay. I've taken this time to really hone in on my music skills. I've been working with the loop station a lot, playing some instruments, doing a lot from a cappella group as far as arrangements and stuff goes, filming a bunch of different videos, spending time with my family. But I'm actually heading back to my apartment in New York City in a couple weeks, bracing the storm because it's really bad in New York, but my lease is ending, so gotta head back.
Okay, so you grew up in New York City, but right now you are living in somewhere else?
No, I grew up in Maryland, which is where I am now, and I moved to New York City recently, and then had to leave because of coronavirus, but I'm gonna head back.
Okay, so, cool. Well, we're very happy you're safe, and we constantly pray that your family stays safe. No, it's a tough time. So my wife's a nurse, so she's like on the ground every day fighting coronavirus.
Oh my God! Wow.
So God bless her soul. She just got back home, to be honest. But anywho, so D-Nice, let's start with finding out who you really are and how you got here. So let's start with like little D-Nice. What was little D-Nice like?
I was very energetic, quite annoying. But always a music lover. I started playing violin when I was 6.
Yeah.
Then I got into guitar and singing in high school. Beatboxing came a little bit later. I did theater. Starting when I was like 13 or so, I was doing musical theater. That's like, I guess, a good summary. But that's kind of my musical outlets. Those have been my musical outlets growing up.
Yeah, is music like the most important part of your childhood, or were you the kid that just like went outside and played everything and music was part of it as well?
Music became a big part of of my life, I guess, in high school, when I realized that a cappella especially, but like music in general was like my thing. I think growing up, I struggled to find like my thing. I tried so many different sports. I tried dance and tennis and basketball and softball, and theater was really fun. Wasn't really my thing, but it was really fun. But yeah, no, I just realized soon before going to college that like music was just like my thing, my life purpose. And then I studied music in college.
Wow. Did you grow up with a lot of music around you? As in, like, did your parents play music? Do you have siblings that are musical?
My mom used to sing. And my grandmother used to play piano. Mm-hmm. So growing up, my mom didn't really sing and my grandma didn't really play piano, but my mom obviously encouraged my singing. And then my grandmother had a big grand piano in her house. So whenever I visited my grandma, I would, always be jamming on the piano. My grandma would teach me some easy songs she like knew from her childhood. And then I have 2 younger sisters, and they both also are musical. Nice. I think I played the most instruments, but they both also sing. And then one of my sisters also plays guitar, and we like harmonize and jam all the time.
Oh, sweet. So you transition for like violin and stuff like that to beatboxing, right? How is that discovery? Because I'm fascinated with the story of how people like discover beatboxing.
Sure. So I still play violin, but it's more recreational. I wanted to quit violin so many times.
Yeah.
My teacher was very strict. And it just became something I didn't enjoy, you know, like when you're forced to practice 45 minutes a day, like it just becomes a chore, you know? And like, I'm the kind of musician that like, I'll wake up and be like, I feel like playing this instrument today, or I don't feel like making music. I feel like listening to music today, or you know what? I want silence, you
Yeah.
know? I don't really find myself nowadays being like, I need to sit down and make a beatbox routine. I need to sit down and work on my loop station skills. I just have the urge to do it, so I do it, you know? So violin became just kind of like a chore to me. So
Yeah.
right when I was able to stop playing violin, I did, which was when I was like 17.
Yeah.
Submitted my college application videos, and then I was like, I'm done. So now I just do it recreationally. But while I was straying from violin and losing interest in that, I discovered a cappella.
Right.
Do you
Right.
know what a cappella is?
Yeah. I know you're
Yeah.
in Vice. Is that where you discovered
Yeah.
Vice?
So I'm
Okay.
in Vice. I'm in Vice a cappella now, but Vice is my ninth group actually.
Wow.
I've been in 9 groups since I was 15.
Nice.
Some very short term, some much more long term. But I have not stopped doing acapella since I was 15, and that was 6 years ago. I'm 21 now, so I'm absolutely in love with acapella. But in acapella, you have like the beatboxer or the vocal percussionist. So
Yeah.
when I joined my first group, the acapellas, and when I was 15 in high school, um, there was a vocal percussionist, and she was like, you know, like very basic. But I
Yeah.
was like, that's so cool. Like I've never seen that in my life, because that's what I had done choirs. But that's
Yeah.
what makes a choir distinct from an a cappella group. The biggest thing to me is to
Yeah.
have that like vocal percussionist, like
Yeah.
imitating like a drum kit, you know? So I thought that was the coolest thing, and like I immediately started trying it for myself. So I started doing vocal percussion. I really was not that good,
Yeah.
but I did have a good sense of rhythm and tempo, so it
Yeah.
did help me. Um, and then I just kind of fell in love with it. I thought it was really fun. But when I started transitioning into beatboxing in college and met some other beatboxers in the Boston area where I went to college,
Yeah.
like Hershey, who you probably know,
Yeah.
she was the first Boston beatboxer I met. And this guy Match I met at acapella camp as well, and he was also in the
Yeah.
competitive scene. And I just thought the beatbox sounds were
Yeah.
like so cool, and I was like, that's how I'm going to take my vocal percussion to the next level. So I
Yeah.
started learning those sounds. You know, started making a name for myself, and thought the recognition was really cool. Thought the community was really amazing. Loved being on stage at competitions and stuff. And
Yeah.
now I'm a beatboxer.
Yeah.
I
And
still
how?
love classical music, and I still play violin, but beatboxing is where it's at.
Yeah. Have you ever thought of like mixing your love of classical with your beatboxing before? Because I know like I think Kenny Muhammad did the whole beatbox orchestra thing.
I That would be really really cool. I've seen I've seen some different people do different things. This guy from Australia, he was on The Voice
Yeah.
Australia, and he used his loop station and like had his beats and stuff, and then was singing basically like opera over it, which
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
really cool. I think it was Reeps One. I think it was Reeps One that like beatbox with an orchestra one time.
Yeah. Yeah.
Not mistaken. Yeah, but I've seen people do really cool stuff like that. That would be really awesome. I just would need to figure out an effective way to do that. That
Yeah.
makes sense
So
for me, you know?
yeah. So Reeves one did the latest one, I think, which is he did the one with the choir in the background. I think
Yeah.
Your Tone, I think is the name of the song.
Okay.
That one. That's pretty cool. So how long have you been beatboxing? So you discovered it at what, 15? Through a
I
vocal percussion?
discovered vocal percussion at 15. And then I started, I guess, beatboxing
Mm-hmm.
in college. So I guess it was like 3 years ago or so.
Nice, nice.
So overall, it's been 6 years.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
you've been solo beatboxing, like just beatboxing, competition performing. You've been a cappella-ing as well. Between the two, kind of which one do you like more? You like being a part of the group, or do you like doing the really like hard beatboxing stuff?
Um, I like both for different reasons.
Yeah.
Obviously, musically, I like beatboxing better. Like, I can just do it all, you know? I can be the melody, I can be the bass line, I can be the beat like all at once, and it's really, really fun. I also love, additionally, I love being with my in my tag team, Nice Cats with Logan Cats, which is really fun because then we can bounce. He's also an acapella guy, so we bounce ideas off each other, and like he's also a singer, and we get to make compositions like that. But as far as vocal percussion and acapella group, obviously the beatboxing aspect isn't as exciting, but I love like the group feel. Like I love being part of a group, and it's kind of like, it's for me, it's like my like sports team, you know?
Yeah.
Especially like when I do acapella competitions, like coming off stage and being like, we did that together, like that was us, like we did so well, like, you know, and like complimenting each other and like having that like team aspect is like really exciting. Because like when I got off stage at a beatbox competition, like I'm either like upset with my performance or proud of my performance, but it's just me. I can't like really share that with anyone else, you know?
Right. So did the beatboxing, so when you first started beatboxing, did you get the name D Nice already, or did that come much later? Like where did this stage name come from? It's the nicest stage name I've ever seen.
Thank you. So there's this video called Substitute Teacher.
Yeah.
The Key and Peele video on Comedy Central. It's like a classic.
Yeah.
Pretty big in America. And in this comedy skit, this guy, you know, he's an actor. He pretends that he's a substitute teacher, and he's going into the classroom and he's doing roll call.
Yeah.
So he says, "Hey, Aaron, where Aaron at?" And the guy's like, "Do you mean Aaron?" And then this girl, "Where's Jaqueline at? Is there a Jaqueline? Do you mean Jacqueline?" And the substitute teacher gets really angry. It's like hilarious because he gets so angry that people are correcting him.
Right.
And then he says, "D Nice, where's D Nice?" And the girl's like, "Do you mean Denise?" And it's so funny. And then he gets like crazy and he throws things and it's so funny. Highly suggest everyone watching this to go watch that. It's called Substitute Teacher.
It's a skit, right? It's a skit from a show.
Yeah, it's a skit. Right. Yeah. So when I joined Boston Beatbox community, which was like, that's where it all began for me with the competitive stuff.
Yeah.
Was when I joined the Boston Beatbox group chat, and they were all like, "Oh, like come meet up with us, come beatbox with us, and like go to this competition in like next month or whatever." Right. I was added to their group chat, and I was like, "Okay, so like you guys all have stage names. What should mine be?" And then they made like a poll, and everyone voted on like what name. And then everyone chose D Nice. So nice. And yeah, it's from the skit. So here I am. I really like it. I think it's funny.
Yeah, it's so funny. Like one of my stage names is Keep It Real, because my name's Real.
Oh, that's so funny. I love that.
Yeah, we're both funny people. Okay,
or like D Nice Beats.
Yeah, right. D Nice Beatboxer, stuff like that. But so bring it back to your first. So you started off with vocal percussionism, then you got into beatboxing. But when you started getting to the scene, do you remember like what was that first beat, that first proper beat that you did? You remember what that was?
You mean like the beatbox competitive scene, or just like beatboxing from the beginning?
From the beginning. Like, do you remember what your first beat was?
I know my first sounds were a very basic kick. Like it wasn't loud yet. It was just like not like that. And then I actually learned the PF snare like really quickly.
Really?
Like that's a sound that people struggle with. I learned that so quickly. Yeah.
Oh,
so I think
that's sharp.
It was sharp from the beginning. I don't know how. How I got that. I think no one taught me that. I think that was more just like I heard it and then I just imitated it. Yeah. So I think my first beat was like
nice.
You know, with an acapella group, that was about it. Like as a background. Yeah. Very basic.
Okay. You said that you kind of started, you were influenced into vocal percussionism from your friend in the acapella group, right? But in the beginning, who was your first inspiration in beatboxing? Like for me, it was Rock So Loops, you know. Rock So Loops 2007. Yeah. That was my jam. What was yours?
my initial inspirations were this guy Marcus Perez on like he used to be really really big on Instagram. And then like deleted his account or something and now is pretty big on TikTok. But
Yeah.
a lot of he's based in Miami, I think. But he's like this cool, super cool guy, and he can sing, and
Yeah.
his like throat bass, whatever bass he does, is like so good. And he was just like sing, but then like beatbox, but it was like melodic
Yeah.
too. It was, and the flow was just so good, and I loved his stuff. I'm still like obsessed with him. Um, Another big inspiration was I think this was like right at the beginning as well of like my vocal percussion stuff is I was scrolling through Facebook and it was like one of those like viral videos like pages
Yeah.
on Facebook and it was Mad Twins on some hill, some random
Yeah.
hill doing
Yeah.
some I don't know what video it was. I could probably go find it, but they were just doing some crazy thing and I had never seen a tag team before ever.
Yeah.
I'd never seen a tag team. Um, and also those like that was like the craziest beatboxing I'd ever seen also. And
Yeah.
I saw them beatboxing together on a hill.
Mm-hmm.
And I was like, this is the coolest thing I've ever seen in my life. Because I
Yeah.
was sitting there going like, and then I see them doing these like crazy sounds. And especially together,
Yeah.
like back and forth and back and forth and back and forth. I was like, oh my God. So definitely kept that in mind for a while. And then when beatboxing was introduced to me, I was like, I want to do what they can do, you know?
Yeah. So yeah, I saw Marcus Perez too, but I kind of discovered him quite late. I discovered him after like Vine was shut down. So I actually kind of understood him from the Vine world, and then
Got
saw
it.
him on Instagram, and now he's on TikTok, and I love him.
Yeah.
On TikTok. I
You
wish
see
he
him on
posts.
TikTok too.
Yeah, I wish he posts more.
Me too. Me
He's
too.
not posting nearly as much. You
He's
seem
the
to talk.
coolest guy.
Yeah, have you met him before?
No, I have not.
I would like to.
But
He's
he's
a.
met Ariana Grande. Have you seen that
I
video?
know. Yes, I saw the video. I don't
Dum
know
dum
who to
dum
be more jealous
dum dum
of.
dum dum dum.
I don't know who to be more jealous of, whether it's him meeting Ariana or Ariana meeting him. That's pretty awesome. You seem to talk about tag team a lot. Is that your favorite format? Do you like to watch tag teams more than anything else? Because I love K-pop. K-pop's my jam.
Oh, K-pop's awesome.
Yeah.
What's my favorite format?
Do you have one?
I think I get most inspired with like beatbox compositions and stuff from tag
Yeah.
team.
Yeah.
Because like I think obviously with beatbox routines like there's so many things that are important like flow, composition, musicality, technicality, right? So when you're beatboxing solo, there's only so much you can do with your voice and your throat and your mouth at one time, right?
Yeah, that's true.
So sometimes you have to like let's say you're doing a build up and you want like a crazy build up, right?
Yeah.
A lot of different sounds, and you might not be able to like continue the melody while you're doing it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you're limited there. Like you can try to do everything, but you're limited. But
Yeah,
I think when you have two people, you can really check off all the boxes.
Yeah.
Because you can maintain that melody composition, right? But you can also have someone doing technicality stuff and a build up and flow, and you can get it all together. So I think with watching tag teams, like in competitions and stuff, I think I just get the most inspired when I'm trying to compose routines for both myself as a solo artist and for Nice Cats.
Yeah. So it's like, yeah, I totally get you with that because listening to like just a beatboxer, like you miss a lot of that I don't know if the word is the right word, but you miss a lot of that musicality. And then when you listen to like Spider Horse, and you just want to just chill, just want to sit down.
They're insane.
Sip some tea. They're insane. They're like the antithesis of the Mad Twins. The Mad Twins is like real hype and like and then you have Spider Horse with all that stuff.
Yeah.
Gorgeous. So what inspires you now? So like Mad Twins and all that, but what kind of like makes you create music now?
So you're saying not like what beatboxers inspire me, but what like just inspires me in general?
Just in general, because I feel like as a beatboxer, after you've been in it for like 3 years, 5 years, and so on, you kind of feel like you start getting more information from the outside world coming in.
Yeah.
Beatboxing.
What inspires me now?
Yeah.
Well, for starters, I'm really, really into electronic music,
Right.
like
Right.
dance music. So I listen to a lot of it. Before coronavirus, I was going to a ton of raves and festivals,
Oh, right. Right.
um, as many as I
Yeah, I
could
read that.
afford.
Mhm.
But yeah, I think whenever I go to I mean, you can ask anyone that I've gone to a show with.
Yeah.
Whenever I leave a festival or I leave a set at like a indoor rave or whatnot, I'm walking out and taking voice memos,
Yeah.
or I'm like recording while I'm in there. Like I have, like on my phone, like I have
You got
voice
list.
memos. Yeah, like I'll go to a rave. Like I think a recent one was I went to uh, was it Dioro maybe? Was it Dioro? Or maybe no, it was Mala. It was Mala. This artist Mala, and um, the beat was or whatever it was, and I was like, "This is sick." I'm like grooving to it. I like to dance to it. I like this beat. So
Yeah.
I just took a quick voice memo, and I'm not gonna use like exactly what I just did, like in a beat, but I think just that like general like groove, like I could build into something else.
Yeah.
I just get inspired by like electronic music and then try to replicate it with my voice.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I think that's like my biggest thing right now as far as like musically what has been inspiring like my beats. I know that like my stuff is more like I'm singing and then I
Yeah.
beatbox.
Yeah.
Um, but like obviously trying to expand a little bit more to like still be singing and like use that to my advantage, but also be seen more as like a legitimate beatboxer.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's not just trying to sing my way through.
Although we are living in the phase where like the singing and beatboxing is kind of it was making a bit of a comeback.
Yeah, no,
Yeah,
for sure.
yeah. So we had the codfish, and then we had like well, then there's yourself, the incredible human beatbox, and
Oh,
then
thank you.
we're kind of like going back to that if your mother only knew phase of beatboxing.
Yeah.
Yeah, because
Also, oh yeah, continue.
yeah, no, because I had like a little phase. I was just listening to a lot of Skrillex as well.
Oh yeah,
Yeah, and then
good
that kind of
stuff.
yeah, good stuff. And then
Yeah.
eventually, like when then I started listening to the Skrillex Justin Bieber album, and that kind of changed me up a little bit. And then now it's kind of like going back to like a little bit of hip hop and all that kind of stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, which is
Yeah.
crazy. Speaking of crazy, you have all these voice memos. I listened to a little bit of your album on Spotify.
What? I
You
don't
know,
have an album on Spotify.
really? You had like My Beatbox, and then there's a track called My Beatbox on Spotify. It's by D Nice. Is there another D Nice out there that I don't know about?
There's DJ D Nice, who's a
Oh,
DJ.
okay, so that possibly makes sense. Okay, my bad. I think I confused you.
I think he also no, you're good. I think he also beatboxes.
Yeah,
But his thing is DJ D Nice. He's like, dude. Um, and yeah, no, he's much older than me, and he's pretty famous.
yeah. No,
Um,
honest to God, I thought it was you. I was like, wow, this girl DJs too. And then I started listening. It's like, there's no beatboxing. Maybe this is a different outlet for her.
not me. Yeah,
Anyway, but
I'm not on Spotify yet. I'll go that route when it calls me. But
calls you.
yeah, I'm just not. There's a lot of work and that goes into getting stuff on Spotify and like coming up the routine and then like finding a producer and then going to the studio, which I obviously can't do right now because of coronavirus. And
Yeah,
there's just a lot, and I just don't feel that like need or desire to do that, go through all that right now.
yeah. I get
But
you.
I think eventually I'll be like, okay, I want some music out, and like I'll do something. Like Gene's album is like dope.
Oh yeah, I only heard a few songs. I heard the one when he was on his guitar, and
Oh
then he
yeah,
boxed the chorus. That was sick. I was just like, oh my god, you can do
he's
all this.
so cool, and I would want to do that too. I also play a bunch of instruments, so I would also want
Yeah,
to figure out a way to incorporate like everything I play too.
yeah. Although I think you might have a tough time playing violin and beatboxing at the same time.
No, not at the same
Kind of
time.
stuff.
Not at the same time. I have different tracks. I play saxophone too. I play saxophone. I'm trying to get an electric violin for my birthday, so I can like
Nice,
plug it into my loop station, plug it into my computer, and like do stuff with that.
nice.
Yeah, but that comes later.
Yeah. Speaking of composition, you're talking about composition. So on the American Beatbox website, you actually have classes, right?
I do.
$40 an hour. Shout out to D-Nice if you want to learn beatbox composition. Check it out. It's
Thank
$40 an
you.
hour.
Thank you. Thank you.
So what makes a good composition? Because we're at the phase where like seldom do you see people freestyling anymore. Everyone now has a routine, like a 90-second routine or a 3-minute routine.
Yeah.
So what makes a good beatbox composition?
I think like so people have crazy sounds and you could come up with like a crazy drop, right? Or like a crazy build up. But I think those crazy sounds or that crazy drop are only effective when you structure them in a way with the rest of the song that make it like have this like dramatic effect, right?
Yeah.
Because like I've seen a lot of beatboxers that are just like, here's crazy bass sounds, here you go, and you're like, wow, that's impressive. But what really hits, especially in a live audience, is when it kind of comes out of the blue, right?
Yeah.
Where it builds and builds and builds, we don't expect it. Same with, like you said, you used to listen to Skrillex, like same with electronic music, like you'll hear, and again, that's where I get most of my inspiration from, with compositions as well, like electropop music too, is where you have like, I don't know, you have this like melodic flow, right? And then you have this build up, and you think it's gonna be like this melodic drop, this like, you know, chill house melodic drop, and then it's like crazy dubstep sounds. Where do those come from? You can do that? Whoa! Like, so I mean, that's for like overall like live routines and such, is like to kind of have that dramatic effect, and especially like don't give away your sound before it's needed. So if you have like a crazy high pitched sound or whatnot, don't use it until the drop, and implement it in a way, in a place where it would be like you know, more of like a shock factor, and then don't overuse it. You know, because if you overuse it, it seems like it's easy and it gets annoying, you know. So like throw it in a couple times. And then as far as like more of like the musical composition stuff, I think you need to find like a bass line or a melody that's just not super common. You know, like I did, you might have heard one of my routines. I did like da 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 da, and
that's the cookie jar song, right? Take a look at my girlfriend. She's the only one. Da, 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 da,
I haven't thought about that. I've heard that. But but with that, I was trying to figure out like a melody that like hasn't been used before, you know? And like I've actually, like, especially on TikTok, that's the video that blew up the most, and people on my TikTok were like, why does this sound familiar? Where is this from? No one could figure it out because I made it up. But it sounded like familiar, but it wasn't from anything. I wasn't trying to make it sound like anything, you know. I wasn't trying to copy anyone, but I had that da 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 da. I had that seventh chord in the beginning, to just kind of like distinguish myself from, you know, most of your standard, you know, overused pop song chord progressions. But yeah, I guess so like if you're trying to like use some sort of melody while you're beatboxing, whether that be for an intro or for a drop, I would just say just try to kind of find something unique that's still catchy. You want something catchy too, because then if you're gonna go perform it at, you know, all over the place online and live competitions, whatnot, especially if you're trying to build a fan base too, you want people to be singing along. You know, like there's so many big beatboxers right now where they don't even have to like do their arrangement because they put the microphone in the audience and everyone's singing along. You know.
Yeah, so when I was in Indonesia, that was like a big thing. Like the Indonesian beatboxers are crazy. They know all of their individual songs and they kind of sing it back to them.
I know, exactly.
Do you think beatboxers take up singing lessons?
Should take up or do take up?
Should they take up singing lessons, like beatboxers?
Depends on the kind of beatboxing they want to get into.
Yeah.
So if they want to beatbox like kind of like following like my style, Codfish's style, then yes. If you're trying to just like do dubstep, then not necessary. In fact, as someone who recently recovered from, or mostly recovered from vocal nodules, I can assure you that
what's a vocal nodule?
It's where you have like tissue growing on your vocal cords from overuse and misuse.
Wow.
Which your voice hurts all the time and you can't sing as high. It like definitely affected my voice forever. Like I can't sing as high as I used to. I used to be able to do like the whistle tones, like the Ariana Grande. Like I
Yeah,
can't do that
the
anymore.
Mariah Careys, that kind of stuff.
Exactly. But I used to go like way higher than that. And I can't do that anymore. I can't belt like I used to either. So as someone who's recovered from that, I can assure you that a lot of beatbox sounds, the throat beatbox sounds really can affect your vocal cords. So that's why I really haven't tried to do like inward bass or like throat bass. Like I've like tried it, but I'm not like pushing myself to get it. I push myself to get a sub bass lip roll. I've got it now. I'm content with that. Gonna try to stick with all the lip stuff because throat stuff is just very unhealthy for your voice. And I think if you're a beatboxer that wants to get into dubstep and do like alien bass and inward bass and all this stuff and just like you're just like you're just destroying your vocal cords. So I think if you're sitting there and you're doing that and then you're also taking voice lessons, it's just it's like
a
not
double
productive. It's just not productive. You can't like sit there and try to learn how to sing while you're like leaving your lessons and then doing inward bass. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I know singers like my tag team partner Logan, who sings, and he also does inward bass now. But I just think, especially for me, like it's not a healthy choice. Like that's I'm just not. It's just not worth it to me to like ruin my voice so I can do inward bass.
Yeah. How do you recover from something like that? Because I don't do much bass at all. That's throat worthy, to be honest. I do have this fear that what if it kind of like cracks your voice cords or something like that. I don't know. So what were the early signs that you experienced, and then what was the recovery for that like?
Sure. So I think they had been growing for years because like in high school, I started off not having voice lessons. I started voice lessons pretty early on, but I was belting all the time with singing, and I didn't really know how to belt properly. So I was belting. I was singing all the time, like all the time, because that was my big thing before beatboxing was singing. I was a singer. I did beatboxing on the side, And then what happened was a couple years ago, I was at the acapella championships watching my boss, and he like won. It was the year before Spider Horse won.
Yeah.
So my boss's group won that big competition where they got $25,000. And when he won like 3 awards as well. I was screaming because I was all the way on the top in Carnegie Hall. I was like shrieking, screaming. To the point where the woman in front of me was like, "Can you keep it down?" Because I was like, just like bloody murder shrieking. I was so happy.
It was like blood was coming out your mouth.
I was just screaming for 15 minutes, like shrieking. And the next, like I couldn't like speak the next day. I was like a whale. Like it was like my voice dropped an octave, and I got sick. And then my voice just like was never the same. I got my voice back for a day, was at my a cappella rehearsal, was singing soprano, and then the next day I couldn't sing again. And I had 6 weeks of voice lessons in a row where I couldn't sing. And my voice teacher was mad at me, and she's like, "What's wrong with you? Like, have you been partying too much? Like, and I was like, "No, I haven't gone out. I don't smoke. Like, I haven't like really sang much. I haven't really spoken much. I don't know why I can't sing my stuff anymore." And keep in mind, I was a soprano, so all of my stuff was pretty high, I was singing classical soprano stuff, but I didn't understand why I couldn't sing. And also in my a cappella rehearsals, whenever I tried to sing, like after like 5 minutes, it would start to throb. Like it felt like a sore throat, but I knew I wasn't sick. Like it like just like kind of was just sore. And I was just like, and I kept drinking water and taking cough drops. It didn't help. It just hurt. And then I would stop singing or stop talking for like 30 minutes and then it would go away. But that would happen. I couldn't sing high anymore. I kept losing my voice, my singing voice, and it just hurt. And finally, I said to my voice teacher, I was like, now I know it's definitely not me. It's been 6 weeks. I know it's not my fault. I haven't been doing anything that would cause this. Yeah. So I was like, maybe I have vocal nodules. And it was just kind of an idea in my head. I learned about vocal nodules, one, because an old friend of mine used to have pre-nodules. Like she was on the verge of it.
Yeah.
And then also because a girl in the movie Pitch Perfect had vocal nodules.
Yeah.
You've seen it?
Yeah, I love that movie.
The ginger girl. Remember when she's like singing bass because she's like, I have vocal nodules. Dum dum dum. Yeah, that girl. So I ended up going to the hospital.
Was it really that bad though? Could you like get that kind of bass like in Pitch
No, that's not how it works. They didn't really accurately depict it. It doesn't make your voice go lower. You just lose your range and it just hurts and it's sore and strained. It sounds really strained. And it's like I was still performing with my a cappella group through all of this. So when I had a really, really hard solo. I was singing a Demi Lovato song.
Oh,
so whenever I had to solo it, I strained so much. It was so hard for me to sing high and belt the notes. Because it like hurt. Before it was kind of effortless. I was like, like belting. And then I was trying to do it and I was like, I couldn't sing it. So I went to the hospital in Boston and they stuck a thing down my throat and they looked at my vocal cords and I saw the screen. They said, like, sing E, sing ah, sing high, sing low. And I saw my vocal cords. And there was just like this big like balls of tissue on the vocal cords, and your vocal cords are supposed to be like this, and they go like this when you're singing. But I had like balls on them, and it was like the balls were interacting like this. It was disgusting.
Just like the vocal cord biceps, if you think about it.
Vocal biceps, yeah. So I really trusted these guys because they had treated Adele. Steven Tyler, I think Sam Smith recently. Like they were like, this was like the voice center at this hospital was like the best like in the country, maybe in the world, like amazing. So they said to me like, these have been growing for probably like 3 to 4 years, but they said they're not old enough and like bad enough that I would necessarily require like surgery. Because some people have gotten surgery, but there's a lot of risks with that. Obviously, I don't want anyone chopping up my throat. And also, you're risking potentially them messing up your vocal cords and like ruining your voice forever, and then I could never sing again.
Yeah.
So they said, or you can do voice therapy and go on vocal rest. And I said, I'll take that. So I ended up going to London like a month later because I was studying in London for half a year. And I found a voice therapist, vocal therapist out there, and did some sessions with her. And basically I had to learn how to talk again, but like properly.
Yeah.
Because if you speak properly and like in a healthy way, it can translate over to singing.
Yeah.
So while I was doing that, I joined an a cappella group out there, the Rolling Tones, but they
the Rolling Cones.
The Rolling Tones.
Okay.
Tones, like the Rolling Stones, but without the S, like the Rolling Tones.
Got it.
But they let me in basically. I did a couple songs, but they let me in basically as a beatboxer. So I was the beatboxer of the group for 6 months, and because of that, I wasn't really singing. In the building that I was in a big apartment complex as well, and I really just like couldn't be loud and couldn't sing. So I didn't really have an outlet to sing. I wasn't singing in the a cappella group. I wasn't in choir. I wasn't taking voice lessons. I couldn't sing in my own home, and I was taking voice therapy. So I ended up not really singing for almost an entire year. I just like didn't really sing. And I got to focus on beatboxing, and that's where really I went like that with beatboxing. I went from like 300 followers to 9,000 followers.
Wow.
That was last year because was that last year? Yeah, that was last year because I really just like focused on beatboxing, focused on putting out content, focused on going to competitions. And yeah, I was still obviously singing in my routines, but I wasn't sitting around like practicing the singing, you know? I would sing casual, but I wasn't practicing the singing. I wasn't doing anything super hard. I wasn't belting really high. I wasn't singing classical anymore. So I really just got to focus on beatboxing because I stopped singing. And because I stopped singing for that, like it was, I think 10 months. And then I went back to that hospital when I got back to Boston in October, and they checked me again and they were almost completely gone. But because through that entire process, I just became like beatboxing became my big thing instead of singing. Like singing was my big thing, and then they swapped. So now I sing, but I consider like my main instrument to be beatboxing.
Oh.
So that's my story there.
Oh, that's great. So if you have a throat pain, just not do anything, guys. Just relax. Just don't beatbox. Just don't sing anymore.
Just don't, yeah. And if it's like a consistent thing, then get it checked out.
All right, cool. Now, we're right towards the tail end of this podcast. So we've recently seen, even in Malaysia, like this resurgence, not resurgence, this kind of blooming of female beatboxers in the scene, right? So in Malaysia, you had like the old school girl like Kim, then you have like Su Chen Yol, which is
Oh
another beatboxer.
yeah.
Have you seen her? Do you know
Yeah,
her?
she got into the Seven to Smoke, I believe.
Yeah, she did.
Yeah. So I saw her elimination. Yeah, she was awesome.
Yeah. Cool. And yeah, definitely. So like we're opening up more doors for like more people, different demographics coming in. I have a daughter. Okay, she's like almost 2 this year. And then so as a girl or a woman beatboxer, like any particular challenges that's you would say specific to a woman beatboxer?
Yes.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, you sound
I
like you have a lot
think,
of weight behind this. Let's talk about
yeah, I mean, for everyone watching, there's a podcast out on the American Beatbox YouTube channel. It's moderated by Kayla Milady, and there's 4 female beatboxers, including myself, that are on the panel, and we spend 45 minutes talking about what it's like to be a female beatboxer in the scene. So if you want like a full explanation, go check it out. What I can tell you is that I specifically am a feminine woman.
Yeah.
And I think, especially for people outside of the scene, like when they think of a beatboxer, they don't think of me, you know? Like I don't look like like a standard beatboxer.
Yeah.
So because of that, I think I am sexualized sometimes.
All right.
And I've seen it a lot in comment sections. I do read comments, but I've gotten a lot of comments talking about my looks, good and bad, right? But it's just unfortunate because, like, when you look at, like, I don't know, like, okay, well, Kenny's a bad example because Kenny, like, purposely is like wearing no shirt in his videos, you know.
Yeah.
But like, for
and he's doing the
example,
peck dance as well.
he does a peck dance, like he wants that attention. But like for example, like D-Lo, right? Everyone in his comment section is like, "Wow, you're so good. This is so this," or maybe bad comments, whatnot. I mean, but he's D-Lo, so I doubt it. But no one's saying, "Oh my God, you're so hot. Oh my God, you're this. Oh my God, look at his muscles. Oh my God, look at this." Like you're not commenting that. Girls are not commenting that. Gay guys are not commenting that. Like he doesn't get that attention. I don't think men really get that attention in this scene, especially when they're not posting something asking for that. They're posting music, you know? So I think, unfortunately, when I post a video of a new routine or whatnot, a picture of me beatboxing, you know, obviously I have the really amazing comments that are like, "This is so good, this is this," or even bad comments like, "She could do better," or "This is sloppy," or whatever. But when I see comments like, "Oh my God, like, I'm staring at her boobs," or like, "Oh my God, like, what's wrong with her eyebrows?" or like, "Oh my God, she's so hot." Like, I'm like, thank you, but like, not thank you. Like, I'm not asking for that attention. I don't want that attention. I'm not on here to try to get compliments about my looks. I'm on here to share my music, you know, and potentially hear feedback on my music. So the way I've kind of combated that is I like to say that I'm very actively engaged with my fans. I respond to DMs. I like comments on my videos. Like I read everything. I'm very engaged there. But I like every comment that's nice.
Yeah.
About my music.
Yeah.
And even when I have compliments on my looks, I don't like the comment. I don't respond. If I get a DM like, "Hey, D Nice, I'm in love with you," I don't respond because I'm not on here for that. I'm not on here to find a husband. I'm on here to share my music, you know? So I've just kind of given the attention to the fans that are fans for the right things.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool. Okay. let Lily know. My daughter Lily. I'll let her know to just
She's so young. No, don't scare her about men already.
say, Lily, I gotta train her young. She's gotta be able to throw a punch. She's gotta be able to ignore sleazy comments.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, I mean, let's just close this off. I think we had like a great interview. To me,
Yeah,
like
it was
I
great.
to me, I find out a lot about like as a singer first coming into beatboxing, because a lot of us are beatboxers first when we come into it. You came in as a singer first. I think that's great.
Yeah, thank
Do
you.
you have like one final thing, like you would like to shout out or promote or whatever? It could be a podcast, it could be a new single or whatever. You want to give us a little teaser or something before we close this off? Like, what is it? Any project you're working on?
Okay. Well, I have a really big thing.
Yeah.
Which I don't know when this is coming out in relation to that
Yeah.
other thing coming out, but I have a really big video coming out very soon, which
Yeah.
you will all see very soon. Hint, hint.
Uh-huh.
But outside of that, I am starting to work on a new routine with my tag team partner Logan with Nice
Yeah.
Cats. So he's also in Miami, so it's not like we could meet up anyways if we weren't in quarantine. But we're doing our first like legitimate like virtual video, and it might be one of our best routines yet. So I'm very excited for that.
Yeah. That's great. Now, actually, I got a request here from one of our chat groups who's kind of listening in. They want a tutorial. Okay, so let's know, what tutorial does this guy want? Okay, so he just wants. Do you have any special sounds or something? Like, what is like a tip? What's a D nice sound that when someone hears that they
Sure.
can? Yeah, what is it? Oh, what is that? Is that a lip or tongue?
Both.
Okay.
I named it the D.
Hold on.
Jayton does something similar.
Okay.
Hunty Beats also does something kind of similar. His is like that instead. I do this. His is like upper lip. And then I believe Jayton's is like, I think it's what Jayton does. It's like more hollow.
Yeah.
So for the D, which is before I just learned sub bass during quarantine, but before that this was like my bass. Like that was my bass sound. So what I do, I've only taught a couple people. It's been very difficult to teach for some reason. Is I'm rolling my tongue like, right, and then what I do is while I'm doing that, I slowly move my lips into like a sad puppy kind of face, like and like I keep them really, 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 really loose. So they're like kind of open. Yeah. And I'm
loose.
Very, 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 very loose. Okay, so my tongue is still rolling, but because my whole mouth is vibrating a little bit because my tongue is rolling. When I put my lips together really gently, they also vibrate. So it goes like this.
Oh, okay. Okay, can you hit me with that one more time so I can just have a listen to it? Okay, I shall now try to recreate that. Tongue and lips. No, I'm doing something.
Start with your tongue.
Okay, there's
Start
a problem.
rolling with your tongue.
So there's a problem. I can't roll my tongue because of that tongue.
Oh, then you can't do this. You can't do this sound.
Well, for those of you who are listening, give that a try because I can't because of this. I literally can't.
Well, I can do it without my tongue, but I found that I have to do the one with the tongue first and then pull my tongue away. So I go like this. See how I move my tongue back and forth?
Nice.
So like that. But I don't know how to get into it without the tongue. So I don't know. You'd have to just like mess with the shape like this, and then just try to like blow air really gently to be able to do it. But I haven't figured out a way to do it without starting with my tongue there.
Got it. I'm doing something else. I'm doing Uvula Oscillation and then lip oscillation.
I can't do uvula. That's really? So cool.
You can go.
No. Yeah,
like I can't do inward bass. So one of the things I did was I kind of learned how to vibrate my uvula going inwards. So it kind of sounds like.
That's so cool.
Yeah, that's it.
Wow.
Okay,
Does that
so
feel weird?
only in the beginning because you gotta place the back of your tongue in such a way that your uvula can shake up on it, right? Alright.
Oh my god.
Then you can change the frequency of that uvula. So you can go.
Interesting.
All right, cool.
That's so cool.
Yeah, for beatboxers who want to sing and beatboxing, any tips for them?
Well, if you have money, hit me up for lessons.
Yeah.
If you don't have money, I would say use music as inspiration, especially like, I mean, you can really turn any song into a beatbox routine.
Yeah.
But I would say if it's not like electro pop where it has like the drop, and especially with like beatboxing and routines and competitions and stuff, you want like a drop, right? Yeah. I would say try to take like the verse, take like the chorus, or like take the section of the song that you like, yeah, and then figure out ways to incorporate beatbox sounds into it, and then build up with it, and then try to find a drop that either just flows with that beat that you've developed or that incorporates that melody in. Right. But I think it's easier to start with doing like covers like that than to try to start doing original stuff. Yeah. At least personally, like it's just been easier for me to like, especially with my acapella background and doing acapella arrangements and stuff, it's been easier to hear a song and then figure out a composition for that than to just like come up with the melody and then the beats and everything on my own. Yeah. So I would start practicing with like covers and then go into other stuff with that.
That's cool. Thanks for that. I've been kind of trying to do Billie Eilish. Haven't quite.
Oh yeah.
Like bury your friends.
I had one. I had my boy routine. My boy, my boy, my boy. Did that one?
Yeah, I know that one.
Troy Boy, yeah.
Yeah. For me, it's like it was bury your friend. That was the one I was kind of getting into. Mostly because it's just like a lot of whispering and no singing.
The bury your friend. That one.
Yeah, that one.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Yeah, if you want to know like a really awesome singing beatboxer here in Malaysia, you can check out Stitch if you know Stitch.
I don't know Stitch.
Oh, you should check him out. He's great.
Okay, will do.
Okay, so with just a few minutes to go, let's end with a showcase. Would you like to showcase something for us? Let's do this. What else? I've seen a wild card, so maybe not that.
I could do My Boy, I guess, because we just talked about that. It's pretty short, but short. Okay. My boy, my boy, my boy, don't love me like he promised. My boy, my boy, my boy, he ain't a man, sure as hell, he ain't honest. It's my...
Yeah, sick.
There you go. I haven't done that one in so long. I did that at the GBB. There was like a 7 to smoke elimination round. Yeah, they had like 100 people go on stage for a minute.
Wow.
So I made that up like the day before and went on stage and did that.
Nice. All right, thank you so much. Enjoy drinking all the water. Take care of yourself. I hope you stay safe and stay healthy. Your family stays safe and healthy.
Thank you. Yours as well. So nice to meet you. Thank you guys so much for having me.
Thank you so much. All right. And to all of you guys who want to check out more of her stuff, just follow her on her Instagram, like her YouTube channel. It's called
TikTok.
And TikTok is the nice Beatbox, right?
BBX. D-Nice BBX.
D-Nice BBX on everything. Okay.
Yep.
Okay, cool.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, and see you next time, D-Nice.
Hi, D-Nice. Welcome back to Staying on Beat. Woo! Today I'll be substituting Rial. Hi, I'm Lau. Just another guy in the Beatnation team, and we thought it would be very interesting to have your thoughts on. I wanted to catch up with you really just to on the thoughts of the recent topic around the beatbox community, right? So one of the most significant one is actually about like sexual misconduct, and several of the female beatboxers have come out and talked about their own personal experience in the whole community, which was, to be honest, like very um, shocking, to be honest. Like, because personally, like over here, we may have certain like comments, but wasn't up to the extent of certain actions that we were, they were talking about. So I wanted to like ask you like I don't know if it's like appropriate to ask, but like, have you ever come across like comments where people kind of talked about you and feel like, and they actually make you feel uncomfortable in the sense of like being a community, whereas like it's supposed to be like, hey, everyone's family and everyone's cool and all, but then there are people who like give these kind of comments and makes you feel extremely uncomfortable. Has that ever happened to you?
So many times.
Oh wow.
So many times. Especially in the beginning when I first started posting stuff and my videos started getting noticed. People always found ways to either say stuff like, oh, like she's good for a girl or anything, regarding my gender. But the comments that really like, affect me and that I don't like to see are the ones where instead of focusing on the music that I'm putting out, they focus on physical things. So, if I'm wearing like a low cut shirt, like people would talk about my breasts, or, like people like would talk about my eyebrows or like body hair or like just random things. And I'm like, okay, like maybe you can think those things, but like to go out of your way and comment them, I'm like, you're not even in this community if you think it's appropriate to like point out like physical features on someone's post where I'm not asking for it. I'm not like a model and I'm not like flaunting my body being like, okay, comment on my body. I'm like, okay, comment on my music. I want constructive criticism. I want feedback on my beatboxing, not about my appearance, not about, my body. And those comments also emphasize the fact that I am a female beatboxer. Obviously, and what you will notice as well, I think in a lot of communities, is you don't get those kind of comments on male beatboxers posts, Right. I don't think I've ever seen, Codfish is, a super famous beatboxer. I don't think you've ever seen a comment like, ooh, his beard, ooh, his abs, ooh. Yeah, exactly. Like, you don't get that. You don't get that, No one talks about that. You might, and also another thing is at beatbox events, right? You'll have guys in the back talking about me talking about another female beatboxer in the back of the room, right? Talking about our appearance or whatever, rather than, or, oh, she's good for a girl. But you don't get that with guys. There isn't a group of girls in the back of GBB crushing on D-Lo and being like, oh my God, like, he looks so good in that shirt. You don't have that, So that was a bit of a tangent, but yes, to answer your question, I have received a lot of comments, and unfortunately, I have to be a lot more cautious about my appearance when I go and make a post now, and at events as well, when it's going to be filmed, I'm like, I go into my wardrobe beforehand and I'm like, what can I possibly wear that's not going to get comments? So I wear t-shirts now. Like I wear t-shirts, like, like crew neck t-shirts, because I'm like, that way, like people at least can't comment on this part of my body, But it sucks that I have to do that, and I can't, dress up. Yeah. Then I take away from my beatboxing and onto my feminine features.
Right, exactly. And that kind of like that kind of like degrades like your. I mean, it may be just my personal opinion, but I guess like female. I mean, you would like to dress up for the occasion, right? And not get comments because you want to dress up. Like it shouldn't be a problem, in fact. Yeah, but it seems like it causes a lot of discomfort. Okay, how I mean, this is very hard for me to even ask because I feel like as a male myself, I'm like somehow I feel like partly responsible for this because like of the inaction that we take. Like for example, like I think as a male, like if you hear these kind of comments, like you kind of have like a few choices. You could participate, right? So it becomes like a discussion where it makes you feel worse because now it's not just one guy, but rather you feel like there's a group of them. Or on the other hand, you can decline to comment or like discourage them from continuing. Or the third one, which is kind of worse, like just which is as worse as participating, which is inaction, which is literally being passive about it. So what do you feel about people who don't take action on this? Then what would you say to them if you had the chance?
Well, as you probably heard, there's a lot going on in America right now. Um, as far as the Black Lives Matter movement, police reform, all this stuff.
Yes.
And going and that this is all currently happening. It's been happening. But what's come out of that is people saying like white silence is violence, right? Mm-hmm. If you're not standing up for your Black brothers and sisters, like you're no better than the cops that are killing innocent people. You know what I mean?
Right.
With the cops, they say all cops are bad cops because, if you're a cop and you know that your fellow cops are, doing bad things and you're not tattling on them, you're no better than them. So bringing this into, sexual misconduct, I think if you're a guy in the beatbox community and your friend is sending a female beatboxer uncomfortable messages or saying some gross stuff while a female's performing at a beatbox competition, you know better than the person that's saying it. I think it's your responsibility to tell your friend, hey, bud, we shouldn't talk about her like that. Like, let's talk about her beatboxing, after, I think she could clean up her inward K's a little bit. You know what I mean? Like you can talk bad about beatboxing, but don't bring the attention to other things, We're not asking for it at all.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Like no one's asking for any of this stuff, to be honest. And it's kind of bad to even see it. And like I wanted to ask this, I don't know, like you personally have experience or like your friends, female beatboxers around you that have these kind of experience, whereas like they simply couldn't bear these comments anymore to the point that they decided to withdraw themselves entirely from the community. Would you have this kind of like? Do you have that moment in your life where you feel like, you know what, nah, this is too much. Like I'm done. You get that kind of a situation, or maybe like, have you ever heard of other female beatboxers that actually ended up like that because like they were passionate, but like because of all these like very degrading comments, and makes them feel like, you know what, it's screw this, I'm getting out. Do you have that kind of a?
I'm not there yet.
Okay. My gosh.
I think I can survive it. To some degree, and I think with everything being discussed right now in the beatbox community, I think by the time that we go back to to live competitions, like hopefully it will be a much less toxic environment for women, for the LGBTQ community, etc. I've only been in the competitive scene for 2 years, but I also know that a lot of amazing female beatboxers have left the scene before I even got in, right? And I have heard from female beatboxers that are currently in the scene, they've made those arguments like women have left the scene because of all this stuff. Like now we need to bring our attention to it. So I don't know which of those female beatboxers that left the scene it was because of that, but I know people have, just not specifically who. But yeah, I'm strong. I can handle it. But I also know I have an amazing team of beatboxers, like, especially male beatboxers to back me up. And I've been seeing them in the comments now. And I'm so grateful for that. So.
Yeah, that's also something that I personally realized that like a lot more female beatboxers, they are starting to like voice out about it and feel like, hey, you know what? Let's not say band together, but like let's keep in touch with each other, whether or not like we're in the same country or same community or whatever it is. Like let's just like stick together, because like that empowers each other rather than like relying on the others to change their action because of like incidents. Because sometimes, like, truth be told, like, I mean, sometimes like people take it as like a topic, right? When the topic dies down, then people just kind of reverts back to their old ways, right? So that's a very troubling situation that humans just succumb themselves to. But my question to you is like, then what would you like kind of like recommend to people to actually think about or take action on? Like, what would you personally feel like would make you feel more comfortable, like when they start doing things like as such, you know, like what would be ideal?
Yeah. I mean, so there's two different sides of this. There's online, right? Instagram comments, TikTok comments, whatever, YouTube comments. And then you have what happens at live shows, whether that be the guys in the back talking or, you know, a guy being super aggressive towards a girl, you know, making her feel uncomfortable. To some degree, could be an extreme degree, could be to a small degree. But as far as online goes, I mean, if you feel comfortable doing so, calling out people in the comments, right? I'm not expecting people to spend their time scrolling through comments of like a female beatboxer's post, right? But if someone's like commenting on my video and it's gonna say like, oh, this is dope, whatever, or, you know, oh, like, you know, work on this or whatever.
Yeah.
If you see a comment that says, oh, like, I've seen some really disgusting comments, like, oh, but can she make a sandwich? Okay, I literally got that. Be like, comment, if you feel comfortable, comment, like, bro, WTF, report the comment, like, you know, like, call the person out and make them feel, because a lot of those people that comment stuff like that or comment hate stuff, I don't really understand why they go out of their way to say something bad, but clearly they're a bully, you know, and they've got their own stuff. But when you call them out and you're like, bro, what's wrong with you? Then they're like, oh, wow, I really do need help, because why would I comment this? And I mean, hopefully they come to that realization, but if everyone's calling that person out, they're like, oh, like, I'm embarrassed now and I look bad, you know? And people don't want me in this community because I'm not adding anything, not contributing anything positive. So making that person feel uncomfortable to the point where they're not commenting those kind of things anymore, knowing that they'll be attacked, you know what I mean? Knowing that in this community, we don't accept comments like that. But I know that it's also weird to start yelling at people on social media that you don't know, right?
Yes.
One thing, but a stranger another. So if you're not going to call out people on social media, then at least right now, put something out there saying that you're an ally and that you stand with female beatboxers, and pledge that you're not going to do anything like this yourself, that you're not going to be sexualizing female beatboxers, at least to our faces, you know, at least to other beatboxers. Like, you can think someone's attractive, you know, but don't be creepy and don't be hateful and don't, you know, put the attention on the sexual features, or the fact that we're a woman. But yeah, I think you should at least just like make it known that you stand with us and that you're not going to participate in any of that kind of disgusting behavior. Moving on to live shows now. Again, there's so many different things that can happen at live shows, right? But yeah, I mean, you know, if your friend is like, yo, like, look at her butt or whatever, I've also gotten that. Be like, bro, like, keep it in your head, you know, like, let's listen to her beats, you know. Make your friends feel uncomfortable that they even said anything. Like, you can think whatever you want, but don't verbalize it. Don't post about it. You know what I mean? We see that. You know, it discourages us, because, you know, if I'm putting all this effort in to get on stage, put myself out there and put out my music, I don't want to see in the comments everything about my appearance and, you know, being sexualized. I'm like, no, like, why did I work so hard? If all you're going to pay attention to is my body, then I could just get on stage and like
show off your body.
No, I could just like, I don't even have to sound good. Don't even have, you know, I can beatbox whatever I want and everyone's just going to pay attention to my body. I want to feel like we want to feel like we're being encouraged to push ourselves as musicians, you know, and if no one's listening to our music, why would we want to keep pushing ourselves with our music and also in the competitions? Why would we want to keep going on stage and pushing ourselves farther if we're not getting attention for our music in the first place? So yeah, shutting down people that are saying this kind of comments, and also not being creepy. I think I've talked to a few of my male beatboxer friends in the American scene, and one of my friends, you know, he had flirted, actually several people, they've said like, you know, they apologized for flirting with me. And I said, no, flirting is not the problem, right?
Yep.
Like, you know, we have like Trung and Chihuahua, like dream couple, right? Beatboxing. So it's not bad, and I want to make the statement, it's not bad to flirt with a female beatboxer, right? Because you could hook up, you could start dating, like those are all normal things, right? This is, you know, you join communities to meet people as well, you know, that's where you meet people. But the issue is when it's unreciprocated or unwanted, right?
Yes.
You know, if a girl rejects you or a girl is gay, like myself, you know, and we clearly don't want you, you know, it's on, like, the flirts are unwanted. So don't persist, you know? That's where it gets gross, you know, and then proceeding to slide into DMs and comment gross things, not helpful. So yeah, it's just a matter of consent there, you know? But yes, I'm still going strong. And yeah, again, I'm just glad that, you know, this is all being discussed. Thank you again for having me talking about this issue. Yeah. So hopefully, like, you know, and my job is to encourage more female beatboxers to join the scene in the first place. You know, that's like my personal mission statement. So I'm hoping that this community transforms into something, and a place where more female beatboxers are encouraged to be part of, you know, and not scared of, you know, all the, you know, the sexualization of female beatboxers.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, I think like, because personally, like, for us to like organize events, because I've been organizing the beatbox events here in Malaysia, and one of the biggest problems, not the biggest problem, but like the elephant in the room is always like, it's always 99.9% male, and it's just like absolutely, how to say, like when we have females in, it's really like, I don't know, like maybe it's like something that you mentioned earlier, which is like the difference in communities and difference in culture and all this, which is but before we record, right? But like yeah, like for us in Southeast Asia, when we have females, at least for us in Malaysia, is that we get to appreciate the fact that there is female who appreciate this the art form so much that they're actively participating in it, and we reciprocate with our appreciation and admiration, which is great. Like that's the kind of things that we didn't advocate it in the first place, but it just kind of naturally bloomed. So I guess we are very blessed in that sense. But of course, like for your community, on the other hand, like perhaps a much more outspoken behavior has been the culture, as far as your roots. Perhaps that is one of the problems that we have to also address. But I guess it's like coming to the middle ground where like everyone kind of reflects on each other and be like, oh, actually, you know, we probably shouldn't do this in general, like on like I mean, just going a bit broader, like maybe it's not just about being female, but just being, sorry, not just about like a female beatboxer, but more like just being a general human being. Like comments like this does create unnecessary feelings that people really don't need to feel. You know, like why do you have to talk about people's face? It's really not about the face. It's about the skills, right? So yeah, I mean, I really thank you for like having this quick chat with us just to follow up. And yeah, any words would you that you would like to share regarding for the upcoming beatboxers, the females, like where they just started and then they kind of like literally day, I can imagine like day one, they enter, they like HPB's page, and the first thing they see is that. Then I'm like, what is that gonna say to like, you know, the upcoming community, the female community in specific, right? So what would you like to share with them?
So you meant first thing they see is what?
The like, imagine like they just found beatboxing and then they're like, oh, this is so cool and I want to learn, and then they come in and they start following all the pages, and the first thing they see is this like sexual misconduct thing, when they feel like, whoa, what is this? Like, I thought this is like beatboxing, but like there's like a lot of these like sexual misconduct problems, and there's like, as a female, that kind of make you, they'll make you feel reserved, right? Let's say you want to go and join a clarinet association, and the first day you join and then the first post you see is this, you know, like that kind of that makes people feel reserved, like, yo, you know, like, what is this about? You
Yeah.
know? Yeah, so that could, like, what would you say to these people to, like, in a way, comfort them and also encourage them to, you know, like just now you would say, like, kind of band to keep in touch with each other and like encourage each other, like, what would you say to them?
Sure. I think we're really tough. And you know, even though, like, you know, it's being discussed like worldwide in the beatbox community right now, it really is just a handful of guys, you know, in each community that are participating in this kind of behavior. And I think now that we're bringing more awareness to this issue, I think more people are standing up and are saying, like, we're not tolerating this anymore in our community, you know. And I think it's going to be a better place for women. I think there will be even more change coming from this. You know, America is one of the only countries that has male and females together in the same, you know, in the same category. I think that could change in other countries as well if this progresses even further. Into a broader, okay, why are females and males not equal in this community? You know, and I think that, you know, that could happen. Maybe even, you know, at the World Champs as well. Who knows? But I think there's a lot of people that, you know, are on our side, on
Definitely.
beatboxer side. And I don't think it's really a scary place. I think, you know, when you see all this sexual misconduct stuff, you know, you think the worst. I feel like when you hear that kind of thing, sexual assault, sexual misconduct, sexual harassment, you think the worst, right? And, you know, yes, someone in the community was, you know, sexually assaulted by another member in the community. That did happen. You know, I think when it comes to that degree, it's pretty rare. At least that's where the public's eye, right? There might have been more, God forbid, behind the scenes, but
Right.
you know, that stuff's pretty rare. It's a lot of the small things, the little comments, the little side comments. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The slide in the DM. You know, it's little things, and I think, you know, when I came in, honestly I wasn't too surprised. Unfortunately, you know, it's hard to say, but I was expecting it. You know, at my first competition, you know, there were people in the back talking about my butt, and I wasn't surprised. Wasn't happy, but I wasn't surprised, you know. And I think we're strong. And again, I think our community is changing for the better. So, I wouldn't be too scared. And you know, if anyone, you know, has any questions about this, you can message me. Yeah.
Okay, awesome. Thanks. Thank you so much for being part of this movement. You know, thank you for being active. And yeah, I think it's really important that we all like turn ourselves from passive to active in terms of like advocating this kind of like on the solutions for these kind of issues. Like, I think this is a really big deal for the community, in fact. So yes, thank you so much, D-Nice. Thank you so much for spending your time with us again. I really appreciate it. Rial is a little bit busy these days with the kid and all the stuff. So he asked me to stand in, so I hope I did a good job. But anyway,
yeah, and also thank you so much for being an ally.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of pressure on guys in the beatbox scene right now. So I appreciate you for inviting me to have this chat with you.
Definitely. No. I think it's the right thing for us to do as well, to have these conversations. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much, D-Nice. Thank you so much again for coming on back to Staying on Beat podcast. And hopefully this will not be the last time we meet or talk. And in fact, we can have a real life conversation in future. Thank you so much again. Yeah, have a good day. And for everyone that's watching, thank you so much. Let's do this together. Thank you.
Beatnation, it's what's up.